Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Z. I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in transgender care. Welcome to my channel. If you have not yet had a chance to subscribe to this channel, I would appreciate if you do that. You'll be helping me. You also will be helping so many other people find this free and valuable content. So please do subscribe. Also, don't miss down in description box. There are 3 different freebies, all different kinds. In case if you haven't got your hands on it, highly recommend. They're all phenomenal resources that I have created for all of you. In today's video, I will be talking to all of you who are in relationship. When I say relationship, I mean relationship of any kind, whether it is long-term marriage, whether it is short-term marriage, whether it is a partnership, a domestic partnership, whatever you consider a relationship with another person, a very close, intimate relationship, I'm talking to you. And I will be sharing with all of you number one mistake I see people make when they get ready to come out to their partners in their relationship. And I'm also going to share with you an alternative. I would say a way to come out that I have seen to be more effective, if you will. And I will describe what I mean by effective as we go along. By now, I have worked with a ton of couples, and I have worked with so many individuals who are in relationships. And I have seen this mistake play out way too often. I have heard other people share the same pattern of mistake. As a psychologist, and if you know me by now by following my content, you know that I also have a little bit of, well, not a little bit, I have quite investigative mind, which lately made me realize I wanted to be forensic psychologist actually, because I have that investigative capacity of investigating things and putting things together like a puzzle. And so that led me to pay attention to this pattern. And that led me to analyzing what makes this pattern take place. Why so many people think in the exact same pattern when it comes to coming out to their partner again and again and again. And what is it about this particular way of coming out that is not effective? What I mean by not effective is it overwhelms your partner. It makes your partner feel anxious and terrified about the future. And it leads to instead of having a more broader and deeper conversations about you and your gender and you coming out, it leads to more distancing. What I have noticed in terms of pattern, and this falls into this number one mistakes that a lot of people tend to make when they come out, is when they come out and they sit down with their partners, they don't just tell their partners that they struggle with gender dysphoria. They also, on top of that, tell their partners what their current gender identity is. But on top of that, they also, the best way I'm going to put it, blur out everything and anything they've been thinking up to this point. What do I mean by that? And why that happens? A lot of people in a relationship are in, first of all, a lot of you are in long-term relationships. A lot of you are actually in long-term marriages and relationship. You have families, you have kids. And some of you, if you're not a long-term, your relationship is getting to that very solid ground. And a lot of you have gone most likely through phases within your internal self. The phases may have been a stage of awareness that something is going on with my gender, followed by a stage of denial. No, this can't be what I think it is. Followed by a stage of perhaps even depression. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to put it out of sight, of mind. Followed by a stage of, no, it's still present. It is persistent. It's nagging at me and I'm ready to do something about it. When you go through different stages, while you're also in a relationship, you're doing a lot of deep internal searching. And you're doing a lot of deep internal questioning because you yourself are uncertain and you're trying to get to that clear answer of what might be going on with you. First of all, for that reason, a lot of you are not yet sharing any kind of gender questioning or incongruency with your partners. Those of you who are younger and young adults and watching this who are in a relationship, you may be more likely to share because young adults today are, um, I would say, growing up in a different gender environment than those of you who are older adults. For those of you who are older adults, you know that you're not just going to tell your partner that you're questioning your gender when you yourself not sure what's going on. So a lot of you spend a lot of time doing soul searching. A lot of you spend a lot of time on internet watching videos such as this one, trying to really gain understanding. By the time you finally get to understanding or to some kind of solid answer, yes, this is gender dysphoria. Maybe you had a few sessions with me to clarify or confirm that. Maybe you had visited some other gender therapist. Maybe just by yourself, you come to this conclusion, or you come to strong awareness that you are identifying as trans, and all of your life it's been leading up to that. By the time you get to that realization, you also don't immediately go and tell your partners yet, because now what usually I see happens is you're scared. You're scared to come out because you're afraid how your partner is going to react. So what a lot of you tend to do is, now that you're equipped with the knowledge and awareness that you are either struggling with dysphoria or are transgender, what a lot of you do is now trying to alleviate any kind of distress or tension by doing things secretly. And if you're not doing things secretly, such as expressing your gender secretly or joining social network in secrecy, you're doing other things secretly. So maybe you are spending a lot of times fantasizing and daydreaming about your authentic gender or what life could have been. Maybe you're doing other things that help you feel better, but still keeps your partner in the dark because it's not a direct indication, right? So, for example, I've seen some people where they will go and they will get some element of laser on their body, where their partner may not even be aware of it, or if they're aware, they think that that's just your preference, right? Or some other element of things I've seen people do, modify their eating habit, their diet, so that they can also alter their body to either look more androgynous or alter their body to look more feminine or to look more masculine. And again, that's something that a partner may not even link to gender. So you start maybe even doing some stuff to get yourself, one, closer to your authentic self, and two, to alleviate if there's any distress that you feel. By this time, you're still keeping your partner in the dark. By the time you get ready to share, to come out to your partner about your identity, what happens is that you have accumulated years and years of self-searching. Then you have accumulated a time period when you became that self-discovery period where you became aware, self-aware. And then on top of that, you have accumulated a time period, a phase. And for some of you, that could be a 10-year phase when you're doing things secretly and your partner is not aware. All of this accumulation, all of this becomes something that you're eager to share. And when you sit down with your partner and you share with them, you tend to unleash all of that on them. And on top of that, not only do you tend to unleash all of that, but for a lot of you, when you open up about everything, for you, it feels like a big relief, which makes sense. Because you're sharing that with your partner, but also for you because you've done years and years of searching and self-discovery and self-awareness and then some other things, you have become acclimated to it. So for you, this is nothing new. For your partner, all of this is a lot of information. So your partner gets incredibly overwhelmed because depending on at what stage your partner is at, and yes, your partner is also at a particular awareness stage, because the longer they live with you, that means the more they are living in the same environment, they're feeling your energies, and depending on how perceptive your partner is and self-aware, your partner may have been already picking up that something is off. So depending on their level of awareness of where they're at, they're also going to digest what you're about to share in regards to that. Some partners, even though they've been feeling something has been off, still get very overwhelmed. Those partners who were completely oblivious, had no idea, they get tremendously overwhelmed. You have to understand when you sit down and you tell your partner, I have something to share with you. I realize I've been struggling with gender issues and I realize I have gender dysphoria. I've done a lot of searching. I already been to therapist. I also realize I'm transgender. This is a lot for your partner. What your partner is thinking in that moment is, oh my goodness, how long has this been going on? No wonder a lot of partners feel a deep sense of betrayal because they feel like all of that soul searching you've done is in a way equivalent to you being aware and knowing and not letting them know. When in fact, for a lot of you, it has been being somewhat aware, but really unaware and looking for that solidity, that kind of clarity. For your partner, it's a lot of information. Your partner maybe starting asking you a question, well, what does it all mean? And because you have done a lot of research by now, you've been on the internet, you've been Googling stuff, you may even start sharing all of that. You may even start sharing, well, that means I'm really excited. There's transition option and there's the surgical option that can make me feel more aligned with myself. Again, all of this information you're sharing is not new to you because you've been sitting on it. And so you got acclimated to it. You assimilated it. To your partner, might be terrifying because it's a lot of new things. It's a lot of things hitting them all at once. First of all, for a lot of your partners, especially if you're older and you've been together for a long time, the first thing they're going to be grappling is the first thing that's going to play out in their head is gender piece, meaning, wait a second, all of this time, I thought you were either a man or B, a woman. And now all of a sudden you're telling me that you're not. What does it mean? Does it mean you're not attracted to me? Does it mean you're gay? Does it mean you're lesbian? Like these are the thoughts that are now playing throughout their head and they're listening to you. So they're first trying to also make sense. What does all this information mean to them in regards to how they feel about relationship? But now on top of that, you're also sharing a lot of additional things you've been sitting on. It's a lot. It is a lot. It is overwhelming to the point where partners just, sometimes even blur out, I can't deal with this. This is too much. I can't believe you're telling me this now. Because again, it's a lot. And partners can get quickly defensive. And when they get so overwhelmed, you have to realize they don't have immediate resource for support during this time period. They still have to make sense of it. They may not feel like they can call their friends and disclose this. They may feel like they can't call their family, their siblings, their parents to disclose this too. And so they feel like they've been just handed over a hot potato that they have to hold in their hands while their hands are burning and they have nowhere to unload it. I'm telling you all of this because this is the pattern I see again and again and again. And the reason why this pattern happens, why you unleash so much on your partners, is because you've been sitting on this information. And by the time you get ready to share, you got acclimated to what you've been sitting on. So for you, it feels natural to share all of this and even maybe relieving and exciting. For your partner, it is too much. Too much. And first of all, regardless of what's going to happen down the line, whether your partner is going to decide to stay or not, which I strongly believe they have a right to decide whether they can stay in a relationship or not. This is just reality of nature. Unloading it in this way is not going to help them make any decisions better or worse, but unloading it in such a way also closes up any communication breach that you just opened up between the two of you. And also depending on your partner typology. Remember, I always talk about psychological typology because it is important. We assimilate process, make sense of information, also based on our typology. If your partner is anxiety prone, well, guess what? Now they're sitting there catastrophizing. They're freaking out now. What does it mean for me? What does it mean for our future? How am I ever going to tell anybody about this? Oh my goodness, they're catastrophizing 5 years from today. If your partner is depressive type, well, guess what? Now they feel like this is doomed. That's it. The marriage is over. This is never going to work out. So this is the pattern. Number one mistake that I see is unloading everything that you've been carrying onto your partner. Highly, highly recommend not to do that. What do I recommend instead? What I recommend instead is before you get ready to come out to partner, find a way to unload all of this internal stuff you've been carrying. Either get a therapist, and by the way, it doesn't have to be a gender therapist, but find somebody who you feel is supportive and you feel you can trust, and therapists undoubtedly you can trust because the confidentiality is in place, right? So they're bound by confidentiality. They can't just go broadcast about you. So at least that's in place. Or do you have a friend that you can unload it on? Because friends are going to take and assimilate things differently than your partners, because friends don't live with you. Friends don't share a bedroom with you, right? They don't go to sleep with you. They don't wake up next to you. Or journal about it. Let it all out. Find a place where you can unload all of this first. Only then I would recommend sit down with your partner and instead of unloading, open slowly a door. And the way I recommend opening slowly a door is by having this type of conversation, something along the lines of, I've been meaning to talk to you about something that has been nagging and bothering me for some time now. And lately, I just realized that a lot of things that have been bothering me revolve around something that has to do with gender issues. And that is it. And see what is your partner going to say? First of all, it's going to give you so much additional insight into where they're at. Meaning, how perceptive have they been to what's been going on? Your partner might say, oh God, finally you're bringing this up. I've been sensing something is off about you. And I notice you've been acting more, feminine, masculine, more androgynous. That means they're very perceptive, right? So now they're like, okay, that just solidifies what I've been feeling on. Your partner might say, what do you mean? What exactly do you mean? And that can tell you that maybe they're not that aware. And then you can probe a little bit more and you can say, well, I've been just noticing that in terms of just gender-wise, I don't really fully feel comfortable with my assigned gender. So you gently trading the waters. And you're gently trading the waters because you also want them to assimilate and take in the information you're sharing. So you're kind of being mindful of them and how much they can take in. It's akin to, you're sharing this. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to use this analogy because now that I'm thinking, I don't think it's a very conducive analogy. But you want to do little steps, right? It's almost like, again, maybe not a good analogy. I'm going to skip analogies for today. Your partner may be completely unaware and they may look at you as a deer would look in the headlights and might say, what the heck are you talking about? What does it mean? And then you'll see that they're freaking out, they're scared, and that tells you that you have to tread even that much more slower. So first of all, it will allow you to see where your partner is at. And from there, you can have the conversation and move the conversation more forward. Maybe you can, this time, if you can see that they're really overwhelmed and freaked out, you can say that, well, I'm just thinking about this gender stuff, and let's find some other time to talk about it. And maybe the next time you may propose let's talk about it again, because by this time they had been thinking about it. So the goal of this type of coming out is to allow your partner to digest. The more they're able to digest in small bites, one, the better off they are to have more clarity, thinking more clearly about how it's affecting them. When a full unloading happens on a partner and they don't have time to digest, that's when people get reactive. When they get reactive, I've seen people make decisions that they regret later on. So this digestive little bites, it's very helpful for you. It's helpful for partner. It's helpful first and foremost to keep the communication bridge open between the two of you to talk about the things. But it is important to share this with your partner if you know you have dysphoria or if you know you are transgender. It is unfair in my book. Some people say, well, what if I don't decide not to do anything about it? Why can't I just keep it to myself? I don't want to transition. I don't think that it's going to be worth it for me. Why can't I just keep it for myself and take it to my grave? You can. You can do whatever you want to do. All of you are adults. You can do whatever you want to do. You obviously, what I share is a generalized guidance. Take what works, leave what doesn't. The reason why I don't recommend taking it to grave, because I believe that your partners, and the longer you've been together, I believe your partners, one way or another, can sense something is off. And I also think it's the right thing to do, because gender comprises such a big part of who we are. It's not the whole part of who we are, but it is a big part of who we are. And so I think it's important to share that. But again, I leave that up to all of you to decide whether that's important or not. So if you are getting ready to come out to your partner, please try not to unload everything on them. It's too much. Every partner I talk to who had been through that experience, they all tell me how stressful it was for them. They all tell me the same thing. It's almost like I'm driving and a truck hit me, or the rug has been pulled from underneath my feet. And then they get very defensive. They feel like it's unfair. And then they think that you've been lying to them all this time because you've been sitting on this information. They don't have capacity yet to fully understand that a lot of you have not been lying. I mean, I know this for a fact. I know that for a lot of you, you're living in such state of denial that you strongly believe that this is not a gender issue, or you strongly believe this is not dysphoria, or you strongly believe that one day it will just miraculously disappear until it doesn't, right? So, but your partners don't know that. So be mindful. If you are getting ready to share, start by little openings about just, I've been wondering and I've been thinking about lately that I may have some kind of gender things going on here, and invite them to have that conversation. It's little by little that is going to help both of you decide, not only help your partner decide what that all means to them, which again, they have a right to decide to, but it's also going to help for those of you who especially have children. And I always say this, if people have especially kids and they're going to separate because this is no longer going to be a viable working relationship for them, how can you two separate without any animosity, anger, resentment, because you're still going to have to co-parent the same kids. And that's so, so important. So important. So comment below, let me know if you already came out to your partner. Did you fall into this pattern? How did that feel? Was your partner overwhelmed? Share with everybody else. And if you are about to come out, share down below too. And I know that those of you who are getting ready to come out, you are terrified of coming out too. I know it is very, very scary. But a lot of times to do the right thing it's difficult. It is difficult to do the right thing, but it's important to do the right thing. So comment below, let me know, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.